Welcome back to another video, my friend. I'm Blake and you're you, and this is an extremely exciting day in Explorer. We are playing Elves Tribal. Now, I am a big fan of all kinds of tribal decks. I think it's an incredibly fun way to play the game of Magic, but in constructed formats, you normally can't construct decks that really work. But I gotta say, this one really packs a punch. Now, let's start breaking this deck down so that you know exactly what's going on when we jump into some of these games. We're gonna start off with sort of maybe what you could call the linchpin of the deck, which is Harald, King of Skemfar. He is a 3-mana, 3/2 elf with Menace Legendary, and when he enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can reveal an Elf, Warrior, or Tyvar card from among those and put it into your hand. You put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So the short way of looking at this is it's a 3-mana 3/2 that draws you an elf pretty much all the time. Now, the other big hitter superstar of the deck is Elvish Warmaster. This is a 2-mana 2/2, and this card can go absolutely out of control if it's not dealt with. Whenever one or more other elves enters the battlefield under your control, doesn't matter if it's a token or not token, that's important, create a 1/1 elf warrior creature token. So anytime any elf enters the battlefield once a turn, this guy makes a 1/1. And then also, equally important, for 7 mana, 5 green, elves you control get +2/+2 and gain death touch until end of turn. So you can see where we're going. We're going to build a super wide board, all of elves, hope to pump them up and destroy our opponent. Now, let's look at some other fun cards in the deck. We have Harald, but also Harald is able to unite those elves. This is a 4-mana enchantment saga. We're going to mill 3 cards and then put an elf or Tyvar card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. So this is insanely good value. And one really fun play is to Harald unites the elves and bring back a Harald onto the battlefield, which then draws you an elf. It gets absolutely wild. It's really good. Its second part of the saga is you put a +1/+1 counter on each elf you control. It's not hard to get 5, 6, 7 or more elves at once. And then on your third one, whenever an elf you control attacks this turn, target creature and opponent controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. That stacks up for every single elf you use, so that gets nuts. If you attack with 7 elves, you've got -7/-7 to spread across their team. It's really, really good. It's probably the third best card in this deck, I think you could argue. Now, some other key cards. The one Tyvar card, we keep seeing that come up, is Tyvar Kell, the legendary planeswalker. Elves you control have tap, add a black, so it turns all of our elves into dorks as a passive. It has a +1, which is put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target elf. Untap it, it gains death touch until end of turn. Surprisingly effective. Also, a very nice mode is for 0, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Now, this pairs really nicely with the Elvish Warmaster because, as I mentioned, the Elvish Warmaster doesn't care if we create a token or cast an elf. So if we start to run out of elves in hand, we can use this to generate 2 1/1 elf warriors if we have the Warmaster on board. And then -6, the Dream, you get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of the turn, and you draw 2 cards. Absolutely insane. Now, let's just start at the low end of the curve now, because elves are known oftentimes for being small, and look at how else we're rounding out the deck. For Llanowar Elves, it just taps for green. It's really good. For Tajuru Blightblade, it's just a 1/1 Death Toucher elf. Really, really good in this list. Now, also pretty key card here, 3 copies of the Skemfar Avenger, 2-mana 3/1. Whenever another non-token elf, that is important, non-token elf or Berserker, which doesn't come up, you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. So really good card draw advantage on board, and being a 3/1, not the best for that 1 toughness, but having the 3 power is nice to be able to trade up when needed. 3 copies of Llanowar Visionary. It's just a really simple 2/2. It comes in, you draw a card, and then it can tap for mana. We already talked about Harald. At the 4-drop slot, we have 4 Canopy Tactician. This is mostly in here to buff our other elves because it's so high. We don't really very often care about tapping for 3 green, but sometimes that is nice to help us activate the Elvish Warmaster. But it's really in there as an elf lord to give all of our elves +1/+1. Collected Company is an absolutely awesome card. We just fit one of them in this list because we really want to focus on elf synergies, but being able to flip out 2 elves for 1 card is so, so good. And then at the very top, we have 1 Return to the Wildspeaker. This is doing 2 things for us. 1, it can draw us 3 cards, or a little more if we've been able to accrue some counters. So this can draw us a good amount of cards, or it also acts as a backup Elvish Warmaster, because really the main win con is to go so wide they can't block and then pump everything up. And this has the option of pumping every creature in the deck by +3/+3. There's not a single human in the list, and so that's a really good game winner. We're running just 22 lands, so it is a little land light, but I'm just running all of the dual lands I have. I am on a little bit of a budget, but I would recommend you just run the best land base you can have. And then as far as other things that might come up, I've got 1 Lair of the Hydra, 1 Boseiju, 1 Takenuma, and 1 Castle in there, along with as many dual lands as I could get. Now, I'm going to try something fun for this video to see if it helps get some more people to watch longer. So, we are implementing 3 side quests for this video. So there's 3 things you can keep track along with me if I can complete these 3 side quests, which are basically really fun, big plays that I want to try to pull off. Number 1, first side quest. I want to use Harald Unites the Elves to revive and reanimate a Harald himself. That is side quest number 1. Side quest number 2, I want to activate the -6 on Tyvar Kell. I've actually never done this, so I'm setting a high goal of doing this, but I think if we could get him his emblem, that would be absolutely, absolutely insane. And then side quest number 10, I want to get 10 elves on the board. That is pretty hard to do still. You normally do have things get removed, but I think with Elvish Warmaster creating a bunch of tokens, I want to see if we can get 10 elves on the board as a side quest. So if you want to join me for that little fun journey, go in the comment section right now and let me know how many of these side quests you think I can compete, but don't cheat and don't look ahead. So now, without further ado, let's take these elves into the arena and see what we can do on the ladder. Okay, starting off, the lands are not too tricky to deal with just because you play so low to the ground. So really what you want to focus on is your curve. This hand is not super great because we don't have a 2 or 3 drop other than the Heartless Act. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He's going crazy right now for some reason. But I do think I'll keep it. Starting off with the Tajuru. Collected Company can probably bring us back in the game fairly easily. So not my favorite hand. The Visionary does actually help it out quite a bit. And we are going to be able to play all 3 of these lands out because the Deathcap Glade gets to come in once we put 2 other lands down. So that's super nice. And let's see what our opponent here is wanting to do against us. We do actually have the nice option of holding up this Heartless Act, and that's even better. I love to see that. So we're going to put out the Avenger, and then Blightblade actually gets to get in here and start chipping away for some damage. I do like to get some chip damage in early with this deck, just because you normally are trying to work out the perfect math sort of situation where they just don't have enough blockers to block. So because you're never really going to go over them except occasionally with Harald if he gets bumped up. But really, that chip damage is pretty important. So make sure you're taking every opportunity to attack if you do decide to play this deck, and you're not missing out on damage. That's an important thing to pay attention to with this deck for sure. Okay, so let's get down our Deathcap Glade. Now this is a little awkward because Avenger, this is where being a 3/1 really hurts it. And this guy can get bigger as we go, so he is a little bit of a threat. I think we want to protect the Avenger for now. It has so much value if it's able to draw a couple cards. So we're just going to take the 1 chip damage here. If he wants to trade, fantastic. Interesting choice here to return it to hand. I guess let's go ahead and let him do that. It's just a 1-drop, so he's trading 1-drop for 1-drop, and really is actually going down a card since we're not losing anything here. And then this lets me put in the Visionary, which will have a solid block against the Smith, and we're totally fine trading it. And also ramps us if we decide we want to go that route. So, what I'm thinking for next turn is we need to evaluate our threats and see how badly we need this Heartless Act to be available. And based on that, we can decide if we're either going to go for a Tajuru/Heartless Act play, or if we want to flip out either the Tactician or the Collected Company. Right now, I'm leaning towards a Collected Company play on their instep, but we'll see what they do. When Glint Nest Crane enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal an artifact card from among them, and put it in hand. So they are playing blue-white artifacts of some kind. Now this is unfortunate, but that is okay. It's a 1-for-1 trade. We're totally fine with that. We don't have any great attacks, so they're really slowing the game down. We need to flip out something like an Elvish Warmaster that can really help us start start to get some things going. So if we leave the Visionary, we have 5 mana total because this can actually tap for a green. So I think our play is going to be to go Blightblade for a nice blocker, protect against this Smith that's going to be growing, and then we're going to Collected Company whenever that is an option for us. So we see the Gilded Pinions here, give something flying. Seems like they're playing very much a budget deck if they're playing this. So I've got to really keep hold of my resume here and not lose to this super budget deck, because I have not seen really any of these cards played in a serious way, except for Karn is going to be a great card, and that might be a problem. So, but this isn't the Karn I'm used to seeing, so I'm going to have to read this. +1, reveal the top cards of your library, an opponent chooses one of them, put one into your hand, exile the other with the silver. Okay, I have seen this one before. -2 is a construct that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So that's probably somewhat of a big win con, but we also have the option to Heartless Act that, so that's going to be good. This doesn't have any onboard effects, so that's not really a problem. Okay, we're really wanting to hit like an Elvish Warmaster here. Would be the best thing to hit. Okay, but getting a Harald and a Skemfar, that's pretty good. This gets to draw us a card, hopefully a Warmaster. Absolutely awesome. This is exactly the kind of thing we need to get going. And now I'm feeling, honestly, really, really good about this. So, let's see. We've got black, black, green. Let's go ahead and just get down another green while we've got it. And then let's see. 5 mana, 6 if we want to use the Visionary. Well, no matter what, I want to get my Warmaster out because that's the main play of the deck, honestly. And now I'm starting to debate in my head. Do we use the Heartless Act and get rid of this construct? Do we just keep back a Blightblade and get out this Canopy Tactician? I kind of want to get the Tactician down to get my Warmaster trigger now so that we can start really, really ramping out those elves. We've got a blocker for anything with the Blightblade. It can block this construct if it wants to attack. And we're just going to chill here for a second. We can use this to draw 4 cards next turn, as long as it stays up. So I kind of like holding these up both at instant speed. Destroy something if we need to, but also draw 4 is pretty awesome. I would love to get something in to get damage on this Urza, but with 2 constructs, that's going to be pretty tricky to do, unless we're able to find something that's going to give us Death Touch. Okay, that is a great play. It's pretty unfortunate. But we're still going to be able to draw a lot of cards off of this Return of the Wildspeaker. So that's going to help us claw back, I think. They're going to make a lot of constructs here. So, oh, this is the card I'm used to. So this is going to be a little tough. This deck's actually working pretty well. We need to start knocking down some of these artifacts so that their things actually get smaller. I think that's got to be our play. We also could swing with everything, get +3/+3, but we really need the Warmaster to give everything Death Touch, to be honest. Let's see. I'm kind of interested in swinging. Well, if I do that, I can't really swing the Blightblade because I want it to take out a construct. I think we're taking 1 turn to chill here. We can play actually all of these cards by using our Tactician and our Visionary to tap if we need to. I don't hate drawing 4 cards off of this. That's a card right there. Okay, so this might force my hand because he's probably going to try to hit Harald. Interesting. Let's tap this and use that to cast this. Draw 4. I think that feels pretty nice. We're also going to get to actually draw a card off the Avenger as well. So that's great. Okay, I think this is a great target for the Fatal Push, so we're going to plan to use that for sure, because this guy's growing a lot. He's not an artifact, so it doesn't really hurt this. We'll go ahead and do this first. We've got time. We've got plenty of time. Brass Knuckles, you can have just a land, that's totally fine. Make them work for the Brass Knuckles here. Now, I don't have any artifact removal, so he's going to get to keep all these back there perfectly safe. So that's pretty unfortunate. There's nothing in the deck that hits anything except creatures. Our only removal is Fatal Push and Heartless Act. Okay, giving everything haste. I don't think that really matters. Yeah, I think we're going to get to do a lot of basically board wiping here, though, with these removal spells. So we'll go ahead and let him do this as well. A Mystic Forge. Look at the top card. Cast artifact and colorless spells from the top. So that's going to be insane value. We need to really do a lot of work very soon and start putting a lot of pressure on. Okay, so we're going to Fatal Push the Smith. And then I think we Heartless Act both of these, get rid of both of these Planeswalkers next turn. And just really, really do some work here. That's fine. We're not afraid of that, because this is on his turn anyway. And then actually, while I've got the moment, do I hit this? Makes these smaller. I think we hit this. This isn't going to stay a creature, and he's not going to have Crew 3 available if we hit both of these. So we're going to actually hit these because this can't come into block next turn, because we're going to kill both of these. And I think if we get rid of these Planeswalkers, really the last big threat is the Mystic Forge. That's a great card for us to draw. Let's put down our land now, and let's see what we need to do for combat. This can't be blocked, so let's guarantee get rid of that. And then let's also guarantee that we get rid of that. And then, do I keep Skemfar back? I think I do, because I want that to draw us some cards. That's going to be our main source of card advantage to match up with this Mystic Forge.
Farewell.
Okay, both Planeswalkers gone. Perfect. Let's go ahead and unite the Elves. I saw an Elvish Warmaster. That's perfect. Okay. Now, do I do the trigger? Or do I wait and see if Harald eventually dies? I don't think we play a Harald here just to make an extra 1/1. Or do we? Because then that's going to give us a +1/+1 counter on all of them. No, I think that's silly to kill our own Harald. Except that it would have drawn us card. That was probably worth it now that I talked that out loud, because it also would have cantripped. Okay. He's going to have to spend his whole turn, though, just putting out the Forge. Okay, not the whole turn. He got a lot of work done there. Alright. Okay, that's fine. I think we're kind of in a decent spot here. I am wishing I would have played this Harald to draw a card right there. 10/10? Oh my gosh. Well, that is a huge problem. We will have our 7 mana, though, to give everything Death Touch, so that helps a lot. This is when the deck really is kind of fine, because you get to pump everything. He does get to kill Skemfar Avenger now with the Sky console. He did have to tap that down, though, so that's pretty interesting. But that is unfortunate that he gets to take out the Avenger. But if it protects... Ooh, if he hits Harald, that would be awesome. I doubt he hit Harald. Yeah, hitting the Warmaster is the right choice. That is the biggest threat we have on the board right now. That's interesting, though. Okay, so we do need to make sure that we keep a blocker or 2 back, just in case. Love to see that, actually. Okay, that's great. Let's bring back that Warmaster. Lovely. 3 Llanowar Elves. We're going to bring back our Warmaster. And then let's go ahead and put down, let's see, we've got 4, 5, 6. Okay. So, what's the play? I want to keep back a Blightblade and attack like this. That's totally fine. That's unfortunate. They're going to take 4. That's good. They've shown that this is their prime removal, so Harald's not going anywhere. So let's go ahead and do this so we can draw a card. And then I will keep the untapped one. I actually meant to keep the other one, but that's fine. We'll keep the bigger one. And then we're going to add one of these to hand. I think the Planeswalker's better here. We've got a Fatal Push up if that would come up. I'm wondering if it's worth it to hit the drawbridge. Sure, let's just keep haste off the table, just in case they would do something crazy here. And then I feel like we've got a pretty good situation here, potentially setting up the win. They're going to have to play a lot off the top to get that value back. We're going to put a +1/+1 counter on everything. He really, really needs the Warmaster to go to win. I think this is fine as long as he can't give trample. Oh, flying. No! That's the game! Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Alright, well done. We were a turn away. Let's get another game. That was insane finish. Good for you. Well done. Alright, rolling into another game here. This is pretty awkward. The choice here is, do we keep 3 lands but not have an early play on the play as well? So I would rather be aggressive, but finding Harald turn 3 I think is good enough, and then we get the option of turn 2. If we get lucky, we can draw into something on that turn 2. So we're going to go ahead and keep and see how this goes. I'm not exactly sure if that's the best play for this deck right now, but I think I'm comfortable keeping it. Now, against the aggro deck, probably was wrong. Probably would have been better to just be down a card. Not a great draw there, to be perfectly honest. That's a little sad to hit that Visionary in this situation. So they're, of course, going to be super duper aggressive, but I think us getting a wide board actually will handle that pretty well. Now, I think here, let's go into the Visionary, just because it will trade nicely with the Butcher, and we'll try to keep Harald for another turn. Next turn, if we could draw a land and then go Harald and Blightblade, that would be really good. Trading the Blightblade into this Dreadhorde is going to be nice. Robert, unfortunate, will probably exile the land I need. Okay, that's fine. They are going to go wide, though. Going to be a really tough matchup. We weren't off to a great start. That is super unfortunate to see, honestly. Really not liking our chance at this. Let's go ahead and get the Warmaster. Try to start cranking out some elves. But boy, is this looking rough. Another shock. Luckily, they've used 2 of their burn spells on our creatures. So that is good, but this Butcher is just going to grow so huge that I don't know if we're going to be able to come back from it. This is probably just going to be a quick L. Especially a best of 1, you just never know. Probably was supposed to be a mulligan into some earlier plays. And yeah, now whenever the Butcher dies, it just gets to deal damage straight to our face. So this is just a quick L. Well done, Loreth. Sometimes you just get those. Let's grab another game. I'm going to just imagine that one didn't happen in my mind. Okay, I like this a lot better. We can go turn 1, Llanowar Elf, and then turn 2, we actually have 3 mana, so we can go straight into a Visionary or a Harald. So that is going to be a really, really nice start for us. This is really going to get the ball rolling for us. I think my choice here will depend on if we draw land number 3, because this cannot draw a land, but this could. Now, I do want the ramp here, so I'm going to let this happen one time, and that actually would have been a bad block. Okay, so here's what I meant by that logic. If I didn't draw a 3rd land, the Visionary could draw me a land, but Harald cannot. But since I did draw a land, I actually just want to guarantee myself another elf. So we're actually going to play Harald now. That's what I meant by that little choice. Let's see. We've got 3 mana available. Let's get the card draw rolling. Go with the Skemfar Avenger here. And we are just really rolling nicely. Now we do have a good blocker here for the Javelinier. Well, I take that back. It's actually not a great blocker because it would take 2. But we will see. We will see. I think I'll let that go. But he just gets to get 1 in, which is totally fine. We can handle a damage per turn. No problem at all. Okay, he's going to take out the elf, but that's a 1-for-1 trade, so that's not the worst thing we could have seen there. It does sadly take off that play, but we're going to get to put down a Visionary, which is going to be a great blocker. I'm actually willing to trade against this Javelinier here, especially since we're going to get to do a nice little cantrip. That's also going to be super nice in this matchup, I think. We're actually going to get to be a little bit aggressive here, and this is the way you want it to play out against an aggro deck. Nice to see this showing right after that last match, where we got absolutely crushed. That's a little bit tougher, but still was willing to trade this anyway, and so that's totally fine. Okay, 4th land would be good here. Interesting choice. I'm thinking 1 black is a little unfortunate. Heartless Act on the Warlord would be pretty nice. I think that's what the play will be. We're going to go ahead and let them have their next turn, and let them think they're going to get some extra damage in, and then that lets us just hold up just in case they play a worse threat than the Bandit Lord. But right now I'm thinking we Heartless Act on this Bandit Warlord. That's also pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as this, which is pumping up everything for the moment. So let's go ahead, destroy the Bandit Lord, and then we'll go from there. So that's going to make them down to just 3 damage against Goblin aggro. Goblin's another tribe that can do pretty well. Is there anything worth bringing back? We can bring back what? Any elf? I think it's worth it to bring back another Visionary. So let's go ahead and do this now. That could trade well with either of these guys. Another Avenger. Interesting. I think I'd rather just get my 1 card draw right here off of the Visionary right now. Love to see that. And I'm feeling pretty aggressive. We have this as a great blocker, and so we're just going to swing in with Harald for now. Their Den can now be turned on, so that's pretty good, but we can also trade with the Den pretty easily. But Den is just an amazing card. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. They're going to go wide here. We'll definitely just trade with the Den, turn off that token generation. It's going to turn this into a 4-3. Might be time to start holding up some blockers, potentially. We really just want to start going wide. Okay. They had to trade a lot to do that. They gave up 2 of their creatures. Holy cow. That was a very, very aggressive play. Okay. So, I kind of want to hold up a Fatal Push, but we also need to get something out to do that anyway. So let's just put down another Harald here. And we just get to put a little Llanowar Elf in our hand. And that kind of works. This allows us to hold up that Fatal Push. We're getting low enough now, I kind of want to keep that option up. And then if we do trade this away somewhere, we can then Fatal Push if we need to. Or we could trade like this, which with us having more cards in hand, is probably actually worth it at this point. Okay, that's great because Fatal Push can hit the Den because it's 0 mana. So I love that. And then I would trade Harald for the War Chief with us having so much more card draw than they do. So I am willing to do this because we're just so much farther ahead. And then we also get to do this. And now we get to do this. And then the play of fighting for that side quest ultimate of Tyvar Kell is on the board. We might kill them before it happens, but that is not off of the table right now with them having 0 threats. So we're looking for that side quest. Let's see if we can complete it. Okay, sure. Let's go ahead and drop this guy down first and see what we draw. Love it. Let's go ahead and grow the Llanowar Elf again.
Come on, we can do this.
And then let's swing the Llanowar Elf. They're going to take 3, totally fine. I'm willing to start making some trades. And we also are totally fine to drop down this Blightblade and then hold up the Heartless Act. 2 turns away from that ultimate. Really hoping we get to do that. That's fine. We've got blockers for all of it. So we're not worried about that at all. And they don't have any trample, so this doesn't seem like a very good play by them. That's fine. And that is totally fine. I'm willing to keep this alive. Skemfar can trade there, and Blightblade can trade there. That will draw me 1 card. And we are going to be really in a nice power position. Don't understand what they're doing here. Seems like they're maybe just throwing this game and giving it to us. I guess they bought themselves a turn, but now we get to draw a couple cards. Getting all of our lands out of the way. It's totally fine. They have to draw an answer, or we get to ult. And oh man, we are so close. I feel like they're going to concede before we get to ult, which will be sad, but it's really hard to pull off that Planeswalker ult. Okay, they are interested in doing that. Well, we're not going to get to really see it work, but we do get to do the ult. Side quest complete. Whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste and you draw 2 cards. Don't think we're actually going to get to do one. And watch this. Side quest number 2. Harald. And we get 2. Reanimate. That's right. Harald coming back to unite the elves, uniting himself. 2 side quests in 1 go. And look at this. We get an Elvish Warmaster. Holy cow. This deck is just popping off. Wow, that was awesome. Okay, we did it. That's how the deck works. I mean, we slammed at the end there. Really held them off. Let's keep going. Okay, this is a pretty good start. We've got 3 lands, all the colors, and we've got a 2-drop plus some removal. I think that's totally fine. As long as you hit a 1 or 2-drop early on, the deck seems to go pretty well. So let's go ahead and drop down a forest and say go. Potentially Boros, Intrepid Adversary. This is the one that gets a bunch of counters, so not exactly sure what they're going for with this build. I'd probably be willing to trade this off, I guess. 3 damage lifelink adds up pretty quickly. That's a 6 life swing every attack, so I think I would be willing to trade that. Okay, they do go ahead and go with the stomp. That makes sense. And then let's see, let's go green on this side. Do we hold up? I think we just put down another Skemfar, see if we can draw out another removal spell, or maybe trade with the adversary. Next turn we can unite to bring back, wow, another stomp. A little bit unfortunate. And the aspirant is a huge problem. Huge problem there. Now, do we unite the elves or do we Heartless Act the aspirant? We also have to get some kind of threat out. This actually gets to trade off for that, so let's go ahead and put down the Tactician. We need to remove the board. We need to get back to a neutral board and then start building up from there. Aspirant makes our Heartless Act a lot harder to... Ooh, boy. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, we do at least get a trade, but we are really getting run over here. So, that's pretty rough. This has a counter on it now, which is extremely unfortunate. Nothing we bring back can handle that. Don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It seems like we just kind of lose no matter what. I guess we could double Heartless Act the Cavalier. That seems pretty bad, though. Oh boy. Let's see, where's that going? Well, we for sure have to destroy that, and then this seems like another quick L. This deck should be better at handling the aggro decks, but boy, have we just gotten brutalized in these couple of matchups here. Wow. I mean, that's just another elf. They got it. All right, let's get another one. Really losing to aggro today, huh? Okay, going first, we've got both colors and a 2-drop. And if we get to land number 3, we get to start drawing cards. I think I'll go risky this time. I'm willing to go risky. Good luck to you, Agent Washington. Okay, let's see what we're up against now. So, 2 out of our 3 side quests completed. The last one to complete is get those 10 elves. I might have got there in game 1. You probably let me know if I missed that in the comment section. I thought I was really focused and intense on that game, so I may have missed it. All right, let's get down a green. Let's get down the Avenger, and let's get rolling. Okay, Fatal Push makes sense. Good answer there for them. Really hoping to see land 3 to get down this Visionary, which should smooth us nicely into Unite the Elves. Okay, probably playing Greasefang, so Heartless Act will be a key piece. No Greasefang, or no Parhelion in the grave, so I'm willing to risk this play right here. Harald, I love to see it. Once they get a Parhelion in the grave, then I will be willing. Yes, we'll take that trade. Sure. Don't know if that's correct. I don't exactly know what the best play is here. Okay, still nothing dangerous in the grave, but they're probably going to do some stuff on our instep. Like, they can play this, discard 2, but then they also have to have the Greasefang, but we're really in trouble here. Alright, I think we're going to take one more risky turn, go shields down, and then after that, I'm going to start holding up the Heartless Act, and we'll just hope they don't have the whole combo on this turn. As long as we don't start see Parhelion right now, I think we're okay. But after that, we got to basically leave 2 mana open the whole time. Okay, we're fine. Oh, that sucks. Grabbing another Harald is not good there. But this can hopefully start to put some pressure on. Shreddy Boy's going to do a lot of work. The Thoughtseize is quite good. He's going to hit the Heartless Act, almost guaranteed, so that's unfortunate. He should hit the Heartless Act unless he's silly. Alright, actually I think that's a huge mistake by him. But also Ledger Shredder is going to cause a lot of problems. We don't really have anything that can deal with flyers. So we honestly just really need to draw that Fatal Push. Okay, since he's tapped out, I actually think let's go super aggressive. Let's dig for a Fatal Push, could be awesome. And then let's go ahead and get that ramp out because we're going to need to keep double Heartless Act up. He can have that Connive, that's fine. Okay, I think we're still okay. This is a big problem, but I think we can work it out. I think we can get around it. I think we can. Okay, that's fine. Still nothing dangerous yet that we've seen. Okay, there's Parhelion. We gotta really watch out. If he goes land, Greasefang, I'll be super sad. Uh-oh. This could be the L. Does he have Greasefang? Oh, we are so lucky, guys. Woo! We played on a tightrope, and we got a little bit lucky, to be perfectly honest. That's a good amount of luck right there. Okay, now we have to keep Heartless Act up at all times, though. Yes, okay. We are actually getting some luck here, guys. Fatal Push gets to destroy this. I don't think he'll have any protection or counter magic. Let's start like this, because I want to put down this Herald and get the value for it. That's sad, but I guess we take that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to put down a Blightblade. And then that was... I don't want to double spell and give him another opportunity, so let's just Fatal Push on their turn. We'll Fatal Push in response to the first spell, so that he can't Connive also. Okay, feeling good about this. He's also really low on cards. Resolve that. Heartless Act before combat. Hope they don't run a counterspell. They've got one card in hand. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Alright, now they're digging for another Greasefang, and we are kind of honestly digging for another removal spell to deal with that. So let's pump these up, see how lucky we can get. This is going to be a top deck battle. Can he draw that Greasefang? Even if he draws Greasefang, well, he's still going to get the 2 Angels. Small chance we win even if he goes Greasefang here, honestly, because he'll get basically 2 Angels left behind. So he would need, well, then we can only get 4 damage through because he'll have 2 blockers. So, boy, this is a close one. Oh, no! Alright, man. Unless we draw our pump spell, we're going to be on 1 life, and then he's going to be on 1 life. This is going to be a crazy, crazy close one. Alright, top deck city here. Can we do it? We're on 1. He can also gain 2 life from... this. Oh, man, I think he's got us. Ooh, okay. Is this enough? I think him gaining 2 life is just enough for us not to win, funny enough. I think he's going to gain 2 life and then live on 1, if my math is correct. How tragic. Wow, guys, what another amazing, amazing game, though. That was super awesome. Explorer really is super fun. It really is. And then he got to put that in the yard, so he can just bring it right back. Oh, he messed up! He could have left 3 and 3 and 1! Wow, huge mistake from our opponent there. Oh my gosh, let's end on that one. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I had a blast playing this tribal deck. If you did too, then thank you for sticking around this long. You're the real hero. Have a great day, my friend.